Sex-linked traits. It means the traits that are found on the sex chromosomes. The human chromosomes are 46. There are 23 pairs. These 23 pairs are 22 pairs plus 1 pair. The first 22 pairs are called autosomes. They are homologous pairs. Plus 1 pair which determines the sex of the fetus. If this pair is XX, it means the fetus is a female. But if it was XY, it means the fetus is a male. Generally, the Y chromosome is much shorter and contains many fewer genes. When a gene being examined is present on the X chromosome but not on the Y chromosome, it's said to be X-linked. There are 78 genes on the Y chromosomes that are called Y-linked. They are not passed on to the females. But there are 1,100 X-linked genes that code for a wide range of characteristics in both males and females. Females that are XX inherit 2 copies of sex-linked genes, while the males XY, they inherit only 1 X-linked genes. Let's take some common examples. Some common examples for recessive sex-linked traits are the color blindness and the hemophilia. The color blindness. What's meant by the color blindness? It's inability to distinguish colors. While the hemophilia, it's a bleeding disorder where your blood lacks a specific protein and they cannot clot. Okay, look at here. The hemophilia is inherited usually because the mother is carrier. Once again, usually male children are affected. When you see the crossing in Punnett square, you'll find the female is XX. The first X from the male is dominant. While in males, you'll find the X is dominant that carries the disease. It means male children are affected. Let's see how baldness is inherited. When you see here the Punnett square, you will find the F1 generation, its phenotype is 50% of males are bald, while the females are normal. The gene can be affected by the environment or not. Generally, the environment can alter the expression of genes. Example, in fruit flies, the expression of the mutation for vestigial wings, which is short and shriveled, can be altered by temperature. When raised in hot environment, fruit flies that are homozygous for vestigial wings can grow wings almost as long as normal wild-type wings. What is the karyotype? The karyotype is a laboratory procedure that analyzes the size, the shape, and the number of chromosomes. As you see here, the last pair that determines the sex of the fetus. As you see it here, it's XY, it means the fetus is a male. What is the pedigree? The pedigree is a family tree that indicates the phenotype of one trait being studied for every number of a family. The normal females is expressed by a circle, while the normal male is expressed by a square. We talked in the previous session about the mutation, and we said they refer to any abnormality in the genome. So any abnormality in the genome, it reflects that a mutation is found. Generally, there are two types of mutations. The first one is called gene mutation. What is gene mutation? Gene mutation, they are caused by a change in the DNA sequence. So any change in the DNA sequence causes gene mutation. Example, the phenylketonuria. The phenylketonuria, it's autosomal recessive. What is it? It is the inability to break down the amino acid phenylalanine that leads to mental retardation, as seen in the figure. We'll take another example, which is color blindness. It's a sex-linked recessive. It means the red and the green color blindness is rarely more than the inconvenience. It's about the first type of mutations. The second type is called the chromosomal mutations. Chromosomal mutation, they can be observed under light microscope, which is a chromosome may sustain deletion or an addition, or a cell may have an entirely extra chromosome which results from non-disjunction. So we have to know what's meant by non-disjunction. Non-disjunction is an error that sometimes happens during meiosis. How that? So homologous chromosomes fail to separate as they should. As it is seen here in the figure, it happens when one gamete receives two homologous while the other gamete receives none.